Welcome to VIBIN, and you're with Dominic Mancuso. You're listening to the Comfortably Mine record, specifically Isopods. Welcome, everybody. Today we got a special show for you. That's Mr. Tony Zorzi playing mandolin, banjo, slide guitar. Tony Zorzi is an incredible musician. Tony's going to be on the show. We've prepared some performances for you today. He's been like my right-hand man. We've done many concerts together. We've played duos, small clubs, big clubs, theaters, tours. I love him dearly, and soon you're going to get to meet him. Maybe we can pick his brain and find out what makes him tick. I invited Tony onto the show to help us celebrate the 10th anniversary of the Juno record. Right now, what I'd like to do is maybe play a song from the record for you. Vedi sto mare che ne scuro in già le veni che non può parlare. Ti vuole dire che gli draghieri si vuoi mangiare. Caro figlio mio, a mezza mia sta. Si vuoi capire in tra la bestemia tornare. Mentre cala la sera, lo figlio ingrato, tornato da soldato con tanta male, già va senza voglia, vedi sto mare, tali a quanto è Pedro, vedi sti scogli, parano parlare e non sanno le lupine che ti danno la ricchezza, e mentre dici che sto ci dicono a così le speranze di una famiglia tra peccati e debolezze, sogni dati e meraviglia. L'umanità di duri prima di una vita e dopo lacrime e dolori. L'umare fama a Pedro prima di una vita e dopo la vedete con dentro. L'umare mio, vedi sto mare, hey! Non può parlare. Cielo, taglia sti stitti e l'ora vidi sti scocchi, uno si consumano i nostri vogli. E manco la provvidenza chi già ti aiuterà, che da l'ancora onde non c'è terra e solo di vinti si parlerà, dentro un paese ogni la castiga senza pietà. di luna vi detto, lacrime di dolori, lumare mio, lumare mio, lumare duri, prima di luna vi detto, lacrime di dolori, lumare mio, lumare mio, lumare mio, lumare mio. And you're with Dominic Mancuso. I'm gonna do another little ditty from that album. It's called L'Oscuro. Written by Roberto Fusio from Catania, Sicily. Veni la notte, veniti lontano, veni l'oscuro sopra i nostri mano, venendo il sole, i pensieri lontani, aspettiamo un giorno, aspettiamo domani, e avemmo tutti la canzone di cantare, ancora una storia di contare, ma non sappiamo niente e non sappiamo che fare, non abbiamo più ali e poi di sera torniamo a cantare, e cantiamo caro, cantiamo l'Italia, cantate va. Ti volessi incontrare un giorno sotto un portone, ti volessi parlare, cantare una canzone e potessi partire senza tornare a reri, o potessi arrivare fino ai tuoi pensieri, ma avemmo tutti una canzone di contare, come dimo ancora, persone sopra il mare, e ne siamo ancora, e non ne pare vero che siamo contenti, e poi di sera torna l'oscuro, e l'oscuro, amore da cuore, amore che non senti, amore che ascolti, che non dici niente, ti volessi dare un'ora me pazzia e mi ritocchi per tagliare a me, vissimo tutti una canzone di cantare, ancora una storia per poter capire che se viene l'oscuro sopra i nostri mano, sta storia ne accompagna, e fino a qua veni l'uscio, cantiamo. L'Oscuro, beautiful song written by Roberto Fusio, off the Comfortably Mine. celebrating 10 years. Well, I'd really love to bring my special guest up on the show, but before I do, Tony and I, since we're practicing our social distancing, we didn't have the opportunity to be in the room together and perform for you. So I kind of pressured him into working out some technical things to record himself at home, because Tony's not much of a techie guy. He just wants to play his instruments and play his pedals and his guitars and his amps. But he figured it out, and we'll talk about that further. In the meantime, I'm going to share this cover, and I let Tony choose some of the songs that he wanted to cover. One is more singer-songwriter. If you're familiar with Elvis Costello, Tony and I are very fond of Elvis Costello, and there was a piece that's part of our repertoire that he wanted to do. So I'm going to share Allison, and after the clip, we'll get Tony on the show. We'll be back with you shortly.
So funny to be seeing you after so long, girl. And the way you look, I understand you are not impressed. I heard you let that little friend of mine take off your party dress. I'm not gonna get too sentimental like those other sticky valentines. I don't know if you are loving somebody. You know, I only know you isn't mine. Allison, I know this world is killing you. Oh, my aim is true, yeah. My aim is true, yeah. Well, I see you got a husband now. Did you leave your pretty fingers lying in the wedding cake? You used to hold them right in your hands, but I guess you had all you could take. Sometimes I wish that I could stop you from saying those stupid little things that you say. Somebody better put out the bigger lights, 'cause I can't stand to see you this way. Allison, I know this world is killing you. Oh, Allison, my aim is true, yeah. My aim is true, yeah. easy hair we could take. Sometimes I wish that I could stop you from saying those stupid bitter things that you say. Somebody better put out the bigger lights, you know, 'cause I can't stand to see you this way. Oh, Allison, I know this world is killing you. Oh, Allison, my aim is true, yeah. My aim is true, yeah. My aim is true, yeah. My aim is true.
Tony, welcome to VIBIN and cheers.
Hey, man.
How you doing?
I'm good.
Good, good. Well, we've got an audience here that's been enjoying our video, the Allison
Yes.
video. So why don't you say hello to everybody who's watching? I think your daughters are watching from all over the different parts of the city, and Julia in Europe. So cheers.
Us. Goyles. Love my Goyles. I got my main Goyle upstairs. I got Julie in the Netherlands. Working on getting back home. She's been over for 5 years over there. And yeah, Andrea, Bianca.
I met the Zorzis via my wife. Tanya was their piano teacher back in the day. Our families have practically evolved together.
A key factor on the success of this record, Tony, I have to tell you. I always said it publicly at our shows, but now that we're streaming this show live, that record would have never achieved the success as it did without your contributions. For those of you who don't know Tony, Tony plays a variety of string instruments. He's pretty proficient at the guitar. He's a professor at Humber College. He's been there for... Tony, tell me a little bit about your professional career. You've been at Humber for how long?
Gosh, I think 1986 or something like that. I think so.
So around the time I started to play an instrument.
Yeah. Yeah, 86.
That's
Because
crazy.
I left in, I studied there up until 77, and then a period of time went by. I was actually asked to go to teach there earlier by some of the guys I went to school with in even 77, like musicians would know. But L.K., Mike Farkson, Pete Coleman, Vern Dorge, Bob DeAngelis, a bunch of guys. They, a lot of them became professors and actually department heads at Humber eventually. But around 84, 85, they were expanding their program. They decided they needed an extra guitar teacher, and my name came up a bunch. And I was kind of working real steady and never really had much interest in teaching. So I just kind of put it off. Said, it's not really my thing. I've never taught privately once in my life.
Wow.
So I said, okay. And then they pursued me for, well, not pursued me, but, for a couple of years. And then in 85, Bianca was born. So I think it was a good opportunity to get a real job, as they say, and let my wife stay home from her job so we could, devote the full time to Bianca. And so, yeah, I went back. So I started at 86, I guess. And, yeah, I've been there ever since. Always part-time, like 12 hours a week kind of thing,
Right. And it's in
yeah,
the
it's been
guitar
a big,
department, I'm presuming.
Pardon
You're
me?
teaching music there in the guitar department?
Yeah, mostly private lessons and 1-hour lessons and an ensemble, usually a fusion kind of modern kind of fusion ensemble type thing.
Cool.
Yeah.
Tony, when I was introduced to the Zorzi family, you were a myth to me because every time we would come over to visit, Tanya and the kids, we'd come over and hang out with Kathleen and the girls. Tony was never to be found. And I kept saying to these people, I kept saying, does he actually exist? Like, I know these children have been fathered, but he's never here. And Kathleen would always say, he's always working. He's doing the shows, Dom. He's doing Mamma Mia. He's doing Tommy. He's doing all this. So, you know, it
Well,
came...
back in the day, I mean, that if we're talking about, yeah, because that's true. Yeah, I've been doing theater for a long time, but even before that, I was really busy just playing. You know, like back in the day, we all had a lot of gigs. Like 6 night, my book was black with gigs, man.
Right.
It's like, if it wasn't, hotel 6 night a week, it's just like jobbing and stuff. But yeah, once I fully got into theater, which was around like, I want to say 91 or something like that. I think Joseph was 91, and then, they just kind of fell into each other, rolled into each other. Pretty much one show ran into the next. And so, yeah, that's a pretty busy schedule. 8 shows a week, right, with 2 matinees and 6 nights. And then, my 2 days at Humber. And and back then I was doing a lot more like jingle sessions and stuff during the day too. So that's a pretty heavy schedule. Not as heavy as, the real top session guys. And, they'd be running the studio. But, it was pretty busy. So, yeah. So whenever you came over, I was always preoccupied.
So it was amazing when we could finally connect. And I recall the time. This is segueing back to the record that we're celebrating. A shout out goes to Kevin Adamson, the co-producer of the record, and Vic Florencia for mixing. Yes,
some great work on that album. And so between you two, you guys had it pretty much realized. I just basically was kind of like coming in to do. I think the way I felt was just to come up and do the color stuff. Just polishing of the this and that.
Okay, Tony, explain what are you doing?
You see, Sam. Dom. Sam. It's the little things.
It's the little thing.
This little thing is really pissing me off right now.
You see, you make a garbage now.
Like a handmade pickguard here, like a little finagled thing here and everything. The Bartolini pickup. That's all gotta go.
It's all gotta go.
Just doesn't feel right.
If that makes Zorzi feel better, then you know what? Then that's what we're gonna do. So you need a snipper, eh?
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna snip.
If I have the choice in a session or something, is just kind of almost just show up with fresh ears. And say, run it. And I'll have a pad and paper and just sketch something out if I have to. But run it, and what's the first thing that comes to mind that I think this needs or wants? And I says, yeah, Dom, I love that. Man, that would be really nice with like a blah blah blah. Whatever, a tremolo baritone guitar, or a nice high pitched acoustic here, or whatever. So
yeah.
So that was the way you let me work, and
your intuitions were pretty bang on. I thought you had a lot of vocabulary to bring to the music, not just from an instrument standpoint, which brings a variety of texture, but also harmonically and also from a stylistic standpoint. You're well versed in a variety of genres of music, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, it comes from just obviously playing from day one. Well, not day one, but everything I've ever listened to, it becomes part of your vocabulary, right? So you just absorb all kinds of things, and what doesn't interest you kind of goes deep into the archives. You might be still aware of it, but it's not necessarily that something that influences my playing all the time. But the stuff that I do love, and you can go through all the bands I grew up listening to locally, and whatever. Like just the Toronto scene alone when I was growing up was some of my biggest influences. Like bands like Lighthouse, Dr. Music, with Doug Riley, and Blood, Sweat and Tears wasn't a Toronto band per se, but there was lots of great things. And then all the I got a pretty really good start just in terms of kind of a jazz upbringing with my first real teacher was Dave Battler, who I owe a lot to. Sometimes even like you can't downplay, like, well, even subconsciously when you're listening to good music, it can't help but come out in your playing at some point. You know, it's like, well, it's a stylistic thing, or just little melodic ideas, melodies that you've lifted, or, you know, sonically how they produce records or something. So, yeah, all that just comes into play. And when you show up and you hear something that's, you know, whatever, Beatles-esque, or it's, you know, maybe it's some kind of jazz. Yeah, so I just have a lot of influence to draw from. And teaching has been really good for me, too. So it's, like I said, it's one of those things I have not avoided, but just didn't really gravitate to immediately. But boy, when you get into teaching, you have to start kind of like explaining to kids, like, well, why did you do that? Like, no, they're saying to me, why did you do, what made you play that sequence of notes? Why that sound? And I think, well, let me think about that. And that's been the process for like 30 years. You know, it's like, okay, wait. And even now I hear I put on old records that my daughters are always putting on, you know, there's research of old music and stuff like that. And it's like, I can listen to something and say, I'll hear a certain lick or a certain sound and say, holy crap, that's where I came up with that idea or that concept. And it's like, you know, anywhere from jazz guys I was listening to, like, you know, Lenny Breau and Ed Bickert and, you know, the great local guys. But, you know, like I said, the pop things, or, man, when I went to Humber, I was exposed to, man, just like a eye-opening. I remember the first time I heard guys like Klaus Ogerman, who's a great orchestrator, movie theme orchestrator and stuff like that. He's still around. He orchestrates Diana Krall's live orchestra. You know, it's just, I listen to that music, and, you know, usually it was the kind of thing, it was like jazz orchestra, you know, like full orchestra featuring kind of like, you know, the jazz soloists of the day, Michael Brecker, Schofield, Randy Brecker, you know, just stuff like that. Quincy Jones was huge back in the day. You know, all my influence, like Joni Mitchell, like Larry Carlton on guitar, all these bands. So, yeah, it's all just one big mess. So when people ask me what drew you to this or what you drew to that, I can almost point very easily to all the influences I have. So when it comes to your projects, yeah, that's all like, I grew up listening to all that stuff and performing it, because we had the good fortune to be able to work 6 nights a week with a lot and playing all kinds of styles, right? So you go to a 6-night-a-week club, and the first hour was bossa novas and light standards because people were eating whatever, and then the next hour might be the next set might be a little more poppy or something, but you could always sprinkle in jazz. You could always sprinkle in an old standard, because, you know, a lot of times it'd be older people, and so yeah, you could just do all kinds of stuff. We'll get on to other, you can ask me other things, but one of my biggest things was, even when I started working at Humber, I was already working full time, really, because my parents had luckily they had no problem with me going on the road for a year when I was left after grade 11.
Give us a time frame. What is that?
Connections.
Is that like mid 70s? Like what is that time frame?
It would have been 70, 71. Wow. Yeah. So, and then I said, well, they'll let me go on the road, but I had to take these correspondence courses to say I kind of like quasi-lied and said, yeah, I'll do those on the road and I'll graduate. Yeah. But what ended up happening was I finished grade 11, went back to finish grade 12 and 13, and then but while I was coming back, I'd already made connections with musicians from being on the road, blah, blah, blah. And I came back and studying at school, and I was being taught by guys I'd already been connecting with on jobbing gigs and stuff. Eddie Sawson, just a lot of the teachers back in the day took me under their wing and used me, and I was subbing for my guitar teacher when I was like 18 years old, you know. So, wow. So I just gravitated, and it's just been like a crazy, whatever the word is, where it's serendipitous, where everything just falls into place, you know. I never once tried to go look for work. It always just came flooding in, luckily. And, you know, it's like any business or any, you just kind of let network, and one thing leads to the next, and you could talk forever about, oh yeah, I played with that guy in 74 and we joined this band, and through that band I met this guy, and then he got me into this, and, you know, it's like one of those
it's very organic and kinetic.
Yeah, no, just like the way it is really now, but back then there was more opportunity, so
It was a fertile ground. Those 80s, I've heard stories about how active, guys are doing like a couple sessions in the morning and then doing an afternoon coffee gig, and then in the evening doing a club gig, and it all started again the next day. And you guys were like doing 3-4 gigs in a day. It's like, wow.
And you were always playing with really, really good guys, like really top. The level of musicianship in Toronto is obviously no secret. Like it's renowned all over the place, all over the world, really. For on any instrument, you could pick a top 10 world class player, and that goes right down the line. All the guys,
Toronto, baby. Toronto. Yep. So I want to get into a little meat and potatoes in terms of our trajectory. So just to share with the audience, because they've heard your music, they've heard your performances on my records and at my shows. So again, we've this is Tony Zorzi. For those of you tapping in right now and joining us on this live broadcast.
Tapping.
So Tony was pretty. He's made some serious critical contributions to my various recordings. Some of my score work, stuff that I've worked on television and film. Tony's come in and recorded and has been. It's almost like I don't know, Tony. I feel such a strong connection apart from the family thing. Musically, I admire your talents and most of all your humanity. You're a wonderful human being. You're a great father. Great educator. You're very much passionate about life. We eat together and we have a blast. We perform together, we have a blast. We hang out, we have a blast. It's always that positive state of mind that I think you bring.
You've never told us, what to play, or you just basically you give all of us guitar, Chendi, and on drums, or Paco, bass, and Jerry. John Johnson, basically just everybody contributes what they think a certain thing. I mean, we discuss things, but I mean, generally just come in and throw your 2 cents in. And I never feel like anything that I'm contributing and that I don't want to, that I'm overstepping or anything. And basically just like I would do any gig really, but especially with you, because you allow us that freedom. It's just like I show up and I think it needs this, and that's what I play, and 99.9% of the time you agree that that's what it needs. Not necessarily because I'm a genius or something, but that's right. What just like Chendi brings his arsenal together, Paco's got his thing, Jerry's got his thing.
Yeah.
And yourself. So
yeah, it's a nice dish. And
you've given us great opportunities to travel, and whenever else I've been to 2 trips to Italy, at least 2. I'm not Italy, but Europe, mostly Italy. And when else would we all get the chance to do that, other than through your hard work and diligence and make things happen, So that's,
Hey, Tony, I want to interject here because
existence the last 10 years.
Thank you, man. And I want to interject and start to include some of the people that are watching. Hey, John Finley, what's going on, brother? Alberto is here tapping in from Sicily. Alberto came to our show when we were in with Paola and Giuseppe. Remember at Tra I Frutti? And he was at that show. We did that little house concert there at Airbnb. And he says, Dominic, suonate qualche cosa, Falco, che seguire il discorso. Can you sing something or play something so that I could follow what you guys are talking about, because you're in English and blah, blah, blah. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want Tony to pick up a guitar right now. Tony, pick up a guitar for me.
Any guitar? Regular guitar?
Yeah, regular tuning, yeah. Electric would be ideal, if you can. And I want people to understand that when Tony and I recorded O Sole Mio on the record, I had presented Tony il mio concetto de O Sole Mio, and he said, Dominic, I love it. Vorrei ritornare a casa questa sera. I want to take this idea home, and I promise tomorrow morning I'll come up with an idea that we can record O Sole Mio domani. Ci ho detto, va bene, Tony, tu vai a casa, domani ritorniamo a lavorare e presenta il nuovo idea di questa canzone. And so Tony came back con questo idea di O Sole Mio. And Tony, can you tell me, can you perform the idea of O Sole Mio for us and our audience? I'm going to sing on top. We're going to just do the best we can in real time. So go ahead, do your thing. And ladies and gentlemen, this song really embodied what Tony and my relationship was on the making of Comfortably Mine, which is celebrating 10 years this year, Comfortably Mine. And go ahead, Tony. Start O Sole Mio for me. Some reharmonizations beautifully. And I would enter. Che bella cosa, una giornata e sole, un'aria serena, dopo una tempesta. Per l'aria fresca pareggia una festa. Quando fa notte lo sole se ne scende. Tu sole più bello di te, oh sole mio, stai fronte a me, oh sole. Oh sole mio, stai fronte a me, stai fronte a me. Sole mio, stai fronte a me, oh sole, oh sole mio, stai fronte a me. Stai fronte a me, stai fronte a me, stai fronte a me, stai fronte a me, quando fa notte is the sole se scende na malinconia, na malinconia. And so Tony came back with that the next day, and it was magic. Mr. Tony Zorzi. Ladies and gentlemen, we've prepared a video for you to take this show out. Tony, you've been, I love you. Stay safe. Keep those beautiful girls warm, fuzzy, so that we can get together and hang out this summer. I'm staying optimistic. I want to play something that really juxtaposes our extreme love for music. Our styles are all over the place. We love classical Italian, jazz, soul, rock, funk, folk, swing. I mean, our love for music and musical expression is enormous. I know Tony shares that with me. I know it inside out. We prepared a special video for you. I hope you dig this, man. This is going to kick some ass. Tony, do you want to say anything before we take it out with this incredible video? And your guitar playing in this is extraordinary. Doing a Sly and the Family Stone tune. Go ahead. Tell me.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, I appreciate everything you're saying. It's been a good ride. I love playing music with you and the different incarnations we play. I'm plugging in my iPad so I can hear it because I'm not seeing the feed.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Yeah. And I apologize for anybody who's scrutinizing the sound, but literally I have no technology whatsoever. So I literally hung this little roll
in front of your amp.
14-year-old amp, hung it over the thing.
I love it.
And it came out pretty good, I thought. And then the iPhone for the video, and you did all the editing magic and everything. So, yeah. Thanks a lot. Tony,
love you. Stay safe. We're going to see you soon. And I had a blast recording this. This next piece is going to feature me on bass guitar, my first love, my first instrument. And Tony's guitar playing is simply extraordinary on this. This is a Sly and the Family Stone tune. I hope you like it. Cheers.
2, 3. If you want me to stay, I'll be around today to be available for you to see. But I'm about to go, and then you'll know for me to stay here, I got to be me. You'll never be in doubt, that's what it's all about, to be available and to smile. And if I see you again, I hope that you have been the kind of person that you really are now. Come on, D. Whoa, give me the phone. that you really are now. Got to get it straight. How can I ever be late when you're the woman taking up my time? I'll be good, yeah, I wish I could get this message over to you now. When you see me again, I hope that you have been the kind of person that you really are now. Break down. Woo. Come on, T, give me some love, man. If you want me to stay, I'll be around today to get this message over to you now. And I'm about to go, and then you know I got to be real if I want to be me. How would you ever realize what it's all about? A double time, y'all. A double time, y'all. And if you see me again, I hope that you have been the kind of person I thought you really are now. Come on, T, sing me the phone. Hey. Mr. Tony Zorzi plays some soul to put in your bowl. That's right, take it out, man. We're just gonna take it out. Portovento del passato, porto sole per oggi. Siamo qui, siamo qui. Portovento del passato, porto sole per oggi. Siamo qui, hey. Ma siamo qui. Siamo qui. Siamo qui, yeah, 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 yeah. Oh.
VIBIN with Dominic Mancuso. Thanks for chilling out with me. Blessed weekend to you all. Peace, hug, keep your family and friends safe, and we'll see you next week, 4 o'clock. Cheers.